that I have, like I'm like almost perfectly statted for Guardian in every way. Like my rings are good, my trinkets are good, my weapons good, like everything that I want. My gear's good. Like I have everything I want. I just want to actually get into tanking, but I don't know if it's gonna happen ever, realistically.
Yeah, dude.
But it was because it's my healer score. Like with having a healer score, I can't be brought into any of the roles and hierarchies because there's people who are better in the roles than me. Like I played with tanks that put me to shame. I have to try Earthwood, and I'm like looking back at the logs. I'm logging anything out of curiosity.
Yeah, dude. I log all the time just to like I stream. I have a YouTube channel that I've been doing since like last XPack, dude. Like. I've been showing people the way, dude.
How often do you stream?
Every day, dude.
Yeah, I remember you put out a really good YouTube video. I sent you a mail, actually. I don't know if you ever saw it.
I did. I remember your name from it. I just...
Yeah. Because you put it out and I was like, dude, I totally feel you because I don't even tank and I get turned down for tanking. Like, I'm not kidding. I'm in a group with my people that I brought in as babies. They were like 1200 rating and I'm like, come with me. We'll go to 2K. And we went to 2K and then like, we're in Keys, easy week. And I'm like, hey dude, it's a Sunday, no tanks are on. Can you guys just want to play with me and I'll tank? And they're like, that's cool. We're gonna go play with like, Snap XD. And I'm like, well, come on, man. Like, I can do this. Like, you just
do your boy like that.
Yeah, it literally failed. It was hilarious.
Yeah,
it's 2 million healing. It's a lot.
Yeah, dude, that's
you
like...
run double vampiric, don't you?
For lack of a better option, yeah. It's just I really want to drop my archive shoulders for another thrash, dude. Like the thrash trade is fucking disgusting.
Okay, I have
dude.
a huge question to ask you because I've tested this a lot. I personally find Elemental World to be totally terrible in comparison to a lot of other ones, like a Blade of Armor. I think a Blade of Shielding is one of the best tanking ones because the amount of armor it grants you scales best specifically with tick. Excuse me. So like when you proc that, you're getting like if you iron for
it's a lot of
Blade
armor.
Of Shielding, it's a lot of armor. My thing with Elemental World is you look at the buff up time on it. Like if we go to because I track the buff up.
It's
times,
not great. Yeah,
it's really low. Like you're talking like out of a 24-minute run. Well, hold on. Let's see the overall time. 27:12.
No,
you had
it procced about as much as Harlan's. Yeah, that's usually it sits about as much uptime as Harlan's.
242, 244. It's up about 6 minutes, and so 6 minutes out of a 27-minute run.
They can also proc together, so you can't really count it like that. Like that,
well,
like they could proc at the same time, and like that could be
right. So well, I just do a simple additive saying, look at each individual timestamp of an Elemental World that I have in my log, and then add those together. So like. And then you look at it, and it's roughly.
Have a good night, Avaro.
Roughly anywhere from about 6 minute duration. So you're.
Alright, what the fuck?
Safe estimation, 30% uptime, comparative to ablative, which ablative would be on a 30-second cooldown, but it would be proccing more consistently because the Elemental World you won't feel it; it'll just be there. Versus the ablative where you'll feel it, and then when it's not there, you'll usually have it every pull.
I personally prefer it for hierarchies, but. If reforging wasn't like I'd have it right now, but I've had to like selectively choose what I reforge, and now that I'm tanking for raid and not playing balanced, I just haven't gotten around to doing it. Like my reforge cost is like 20k right now.
Oh yeah.
So
I totally understand
I definitely, especially for tyrannical weeks, it's definitely ideal. So I even use it in like RPGs too. It's really good. So
like Azul Shoulders is easily best in slot for Guardian, which I have a pair of them, and I haven't used them specifically yet for anything else.
Best in slot. That Talthazar ones are pretty nasty because I have Thrash and then Winds, and Impassive is like one of the strongest in a row traits that you can take.
I think Impassive is very good, but few things have Winds of War, and Archive is just really good in general. Like. In Mythic Plus, it's almost always going. You never not lose 20 stacks of Archive. Like, your Archive uptime is, 24. It's up 99%, basically.
Yeah. Well, if you look...
the strength of it.
In that run, I still had a 20 20.5-minute uptime on the claws, which is pretty much the whole run.
Yep.
If claws didn't give about like almost twice as much agi, I would like think about it more. But yeah,
I mean that's why I run 2-piece, but I like the layered fur. I have an option to run a third one, but I feel like the layered fur feels a little bit better just because there's times when I've done a really big pool, and since I have a hard time deciding, but because I used to run brambles, but I've been leaning more towards blood frenzy because on big trash pools I can get like 6 iron fur if I'm really lucky.
Hell yeah.
And then I'm not worried about as popping defensives as much. And then once I start, once things start really getting, a little out of control, then I'll switch off of it and then just Typhoon and walk backwards and build off. Like I haven't really tried anything else in here because I've found Guardians to be so useful, but only because of just the amount of
shit that we can
20%.
Take.
Yeah. The only thing is it's just weird because it's like, 20% increase top of the frenzy region. I can't tell the total value. Like I need to like take a ton of damage, like jump off a cliff, fall damage, get in combat, frenzy regen, change the talent, jump off a cliff, fall combat, because it feels better. Because like in like, as an example for wasting strike on Lord and Lady, like I would take a wasting strike and be like, I've got frenzy regen for this one, proc a Guardian Maloon and frenzy regen, and I would just heal through the whole dot. And then do it for the next one, and then be like, okay, now I'm out of those defensives, I'll rotate to like Barkskin. Okay, I'm out of those defensives, I'll pull Rage, and then I'll just Guardian on the next, or Survival Instincts on the next one. Then on this one, I should have a Frenzy Regen. And I can use Frenzy Regen more as an internal cooldown, rather than just kind of having the consistent damage. I feel like our consistent damage is good as a Guardian. That's really where we're shining at. That's why I've been a little iffy on Earth Warding, because it leans really well, but I guess I just don't know how much of the protective it gives, because that's a lot of healing, like looking at the numbers.
It is, dude. Yeah.
But I also don't know, like big hits versus small hits. I guess that's kind of the thing, because it's a significant amount of absorb. And Brambles never really impressed me with the amount of absorb Brambles did. I shifted away from Brambles to Blood Frenzy because I didn't feel like I was losing anything.
And that's where like I like them in paired together. I like if I didn't have Earth Warden, I probably wouldn't use any Brambles.
Yeah, I mean it definitely
for like higher keys, but in tandem they work really well together.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Because like the average Earth Warden was 5k, and that my average Brambles was 580. So that's like adding 10% onto pretty much every one of the
easy estimation. Scaling key 6k maybe 6 something k on a higher key.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's pretty good because you subtract a pretty significant amount.
Yeah. I just like them together, and see, I also mostly run with a Resto Druid too, so that's something else that I take into account. Where like using a loon for like, I'm at a point now where like I don't know if I want to take Survival or Guardian for Shrine. It depends on the affixes, but if I didn't run with a Druid so much, like, I would think more about Loon, but I've always got fucking Hots in me, and he rolls the
Stonebark.
I think, but the build, whatever it's called, like the hot build.
Photosynthesis. So
yeah.
I'm different than. I mean, every druid is obviously doing different things. I've talked with Jaemon, I've talked with Edelweiss, I've talked with Furs, I've talked with like Veda Hane. Like I know the Guardian or the Resto Druid pretty well, and we all kind of like mirror each other's builds a little bit, but like we all do different things. Like Jamal does different stuff, JB does different stuff. I think JB and Veda Hane run similar ones, which is like the Spring Blossoms, Photosynthesis, Cenarian Ward style build.
Real quick, guys, there's not really any keys happening, dude. I don't want to like hang out for nothing, unless like I'm down for the toll if y'all are, but there's just like not really a lot happening.
Yeah, it's pretty early in the morning. It's like 5:30 in the morning. So.
Oh shit, yeah, no, I can't do another key.
I'm just hanging out for a bit and then probably crashing out. I just wanted to do a key.
Yeah.
I'm literally always doing a Waycrest because I want a better music box.
I was farming it for a weapon because like we've been extending our lockout, so yeah. Well,
like 3 weeks, and so I don't have a. You have, I mean, you don't have a bad weapon though. You have a decent one.
I just got it today, dude. I've had a 370 Void Binder
dude,
for a hot minute, dude.
Yeah, same, dude. I'm jelly. I've been sitting on this for so long. It's not bad. I mean, it's good, but it's not a 380 Void.
No, it's not. Yeah, dude. Everybody above me in the world on like the bear things has like a 385 on. I'm like, god damn it, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think it's as much as needed. Like the weapon is obviously a really impactful item. But I don't like. It's just finding the group to mirror you. You may be better off, and I don't mean this in any way to offend your druid. You may be better off in certain regards bringing like a Mistweaver, because Mistweavers are much better at.
I work
healing.
really well with them. Yeah.
Well, I think they're the strongest healer in the game right now. But also because with the new 8.1 changes, Mistweavers directly benefit you so much more because everything that we do is physical, and so that's a huge buff to have. To be able to have Mystic Touch, which gives us 5% more damage, which is also internal threat, you know, and then so that's also very, very. But I mean, again, you know, not saying anything against your healer, but like there's if you had to run a comp for your side of it, you may
it does.
Be better
That's
off
why
something like
I prefer a polearm over a staff.
Like I would say, Hunter or Mage, and then probably run like Mistweaver. Rogue, and then you could kind of fit in whatever you want as your fifth, but I would recommend something out of the norm, like a Death Knight, or even or just go with a Demon Hunter again.
Yeah,
but like, a heavy physical comp would be good. Like if you ran with like a Frost DK or something, and he knew how to maintain his cooldowns well, that gives you access to grip, that gives you another battle res, that gives you a lot of the Death Knight control for the dungeons that you would be lacking.
Without,
That's a lot of the dungeons. Like you look at Ataldazar, you look at King's Rest, you look at Underrot. All of those ones have really powerful undead mobs.
I love this guy.
And that would give you another battle res, and that's really good static damage. And then having the rogue, that's mandatory. Rogues are completely mandatory. And then you can fit in whatever range you like. I prefer hunters, and a lot of people argue. Like I've argued with Travix about this. I've argued with other people saying, because a lot of people think mages are the best thing on the block.
Well, and your hunter can still go survival for explosive and just like splash damage all the explosives without even having to target them.
They might be, but even then,
I don't know.
I don't think explosive's that bad personally. Now,
it's not.
It's not, but like
I can kill him, dude. I kill him in like a single shred. Like, I think the worst tank in the game at explosive is a Guardian, because I have to sit there and hit Moonfire on it. I'm like, all right, that's like 4 globals pretty much. It feels terrible.
Well, one GG proc or Mango will like.
Mango can help too.
But then that means you're like mangling on an AOE pack. Which
but even
is not
then,
always
but
the
like
best,
our Mango is scaled, like specifically our Mango is scaled based on the amount of extra damage we have on the bleeds. And like that's the biggest weakness to Guardian, is that all of our abilities are AOE, and Mango is scaled down because it's meant to be used on a thrash target.
Yeah.
So its damage is already bad, and once they improve it, it'll be better. But like Moonfire hits just raw better, you know, on the immediate kind of burn, because like it feels like just so much stronger if you don't have the Mango. But again, that's just because if you don't have a Mango up, you have to use Moonfire. That's all you've got. I'm not gonna waste 40 rage on a Maul that does barely more than my Mango. It's terrible.
I'm glad you showed me what. I don't know why I had never even thought to like really look at it. I think I saw Spyglass like proc once, and I probably like misread it, and I just missed it. But thank you for like bringing that back to my attention. I'm gonna like wear that with Harlan's like all the fucking time.
Yeah, I think that's Harlan's dice. If you show that to any rogue, they'd probably flip backwards, kind of thing.
I have that I used for a bit, but I kind of started to feel like it was a crutch that I didn't really need. So I stopped using it. Like for some like shrine and things like that. It's fine.
If I was you, I would, because that's an amazing eye. I would run that over your Spyglass. But the reason I say that is because it's more flat agility, and the proc value is more significant. You're gonna get more value out of that proc consistently then you are going to say get the Spyglass. Because Spyglass is an inconsistent proc. So like
it's up a lot though.
Right, but you might proc it at the end of a pull, and then it's not up for an entire pull.
Yeah,
or you
well,
might
and
proc it
like
on a good
with
move.
my verse, and it's weird. I don't think it's weird because this thing definitely procs like 110, 120k bubbles sometimes, and that's definitely more than like just my verse.
Well, it's also because you got to realize if your versatility is scaled up on your weapon from your natural versatility navigation.
Yeah, true. True.
Everything else, you're gonna. So like,
it's,
I mean,
it's gonna smash a huge
the
bubble.
385 Zalix Eye would be stronger than your 370 Spyglass. The reason I run the Spyglass is because I only have a 370 and a 375 wrap. So my 375 Spyglass is better because it's socketed and I don't have anything to compare to it. That
yours does have a socket, yeah.
Yeah, that's the only reason I use mine. I mean, it's definitely not a bad thing. It's just inconsistent. Like that's the big thing. Like the only
is that trinket not like insane?
It's not very good, to be totally honest.
Really? It's pretty good.
But this is what you want.
Well, it's good, but the only reason it's like I'm not the biggest fan of like relying on it is, well, you don't want to drop below 40% health. Like,
but you're going to. Like, I mean, that's the thing. It gives you breathing room.
Yeah.
Like what you want, like what I prefer is this one, the ritual wraps, because ritual wraps heal for an equal amount as the eye, but it's on a minute 30 cooldown and you can control it. That's why I like that personally.
Never been a fan of the bandages. Like it does scale with verse, but it's just I don't know.
It's the same. So like if you look at it from like that perspective, because I have like a 370 and I'll show you, like if you look at the numbers on yours, and I'll link my 370i that I have in my bank, because you can look at the numbers now. Like you can see the numbers on a minute 30 minutes faster, which means technically speaking over the course of a dungeon, if you're using it on cooldown, you're going to get more value out of it.
Yeah.
And it's controllable, so like I prefer to use it like at the start of a pull, because I prep the shield there, and then by the time the shield breaks, I've already got 2 Iron Furs running, and then I feel a lot safer at the start of a pull.
Maybe for higher keys, I might fuck around with Blood Frenzy.
Yeah, I mean, and again, there's tons
of
like, argument
see how it works out. But
yeah, the main reason I just don't like Brambles is because it feels like a DPS cooldown that we don't need.
I don't use it. I used to last X-Pack because of the cloak and the shoulders, but yeah, I don't use it like that anymore. I got away from that.
That's why I don't run it. I run Blood Frenzy a little bit more, but again, it's argued on a lot of small things. Like for me, I don't like Earthlink. I prefer like Crystalline. I prefer a Blade of Armor. I prefer Gemhide, but I still think Vampiric Speed is like essential. I think if you had the choice between Vampiric Speed and Gemhide, I think Vampiric Speed's better, because Vampiric Speed gives you consistent healing.
And it's buffed by verse. Yeah.
And yeah, like you can get 15, 16. Like I bet if you looked at your Vampiric Speed, let me look at your run real quick.
On the high ends, dude, it's critting for like 29.5.
Yeah, you got a heal crit for 12,494. So you had almost a 12,500 healing crit just from a mob dying.
Well, that's only on like the average. The max, dude, it can max out upwards of 29k with like the right timing. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like
it's
people are
good.
like, oh, it's not great. I'm like, Gemhide doesn't scale well because it's only 100 armor.
But in passive is better than Vampiric.
Oh, I agree. In passive is way stronger.
It's just like you get 2, dude, and like that's why I like the Thrash Helm and the Thrash Shoulders from Plus so much, is because it's like they've got that right in there, and like regardless of what's in like
really good for that.
The middle row, like in passive is just because like it'll hit about as it hits for over 20k if you have 2 and like a decent amount of verse.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's a couple of different
ones. There's shoulders, dude, and he's like on my way is verse and speed, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I like Azerite Veins a lot. I'm trying to find a better set of shoulders to run. Like that's been thinking about switching over to using.
What shoulders do you have now?
These ones.
Or like, what choices do you have?
Oh, I have like a handful. Like I have a whole bank of.
I don't know. I feel like if if main was more than 10%, I would definitely think about it more. But I don't know. I like.
Well, it's mainly because every time you use Iron Fur, you get the flat agility.
Yeah.
And with Blood Frenzy, I've
that,
got like
that makes sense.
Like if I get one good proc, but I'm gonna be getting Iron Fur increases my agility for that flat 128, but it has that free chance because you look at it for your Iron Fur, you're talking 45 rate. If I get one free Iron Fur off of a pole, then that's 45 rage free, and I'm running with Guardian. So with Guardian Balloon, I get that bonus time on top.
You get more, yeah.
So I mean, that's usually the reason I lean a little bit more to it. That's why I've been certain if I want to run. I'm not sure if I want to run something else or in another one because I have a couple of other ones, but none of them feel really good. There's a few that I've been wanting to arguably try, but it's like Gonk Outrunners, stuff like that, where it's leaning more towards like having the haste and avoidance, and the mastery proc. Is the mastery proc enough? Warrant using it for the heal, that kind of a thing. But I don't think it is. There's the other option I've had is Death Snap ones, but that's layered fur and Shimmering Haven, which I've never tried Shimmering Haven, but I don't want to.
It requires you to stand still, and
exactly.
I hate
and
that.
That's why,
I hate that.
I literally put it in my bank and didn't even apply because I was like, anything that forces me to lock myself in a position doesn't feel like it's worth using. Yeah.
Even like, oh dude, so have you seen the new traits that they have coming out? They have
I looked at some of them.
Yeah. That one at normal 385 Azerite, it's 336 of your main stat where you stay above 50% health, but then you take 15% more damage if you drop below 20% health. That shit is gonna be great because we'll still be able to get Thrash on every piece, and have an Iron Fur trait. Like, there's the potential to have that new trait and Thrash, and then 2 pieces with Thrash and Iron Fur on both, which is gonna be fucking disgusting.
Like, that's why, like, because I run these, and I've been debating if I should just find a set of shoulders and run another Thrash counterpart. Because, like, if I run another Thrash, like, that right there, the amount of agility that I have off those 2 pieces alone, because they're both 390 for me, is insane. Like, I have so much agility off of those. Because it's 170 per, and then if it's 100, it's 107 rather, 107. And so if I get 5 stacks of each, that's stacks. It's almost, quite literally, like, what, 1,020, 1,100 agility? That's 1,000 extra agility throughout the dungeon. That's insane.
Dude, I feel like if built right, it's gonna be, dude, bears are gonna be on another note this next patch, dude. Like, I swear, dude. It's gonna, like, being able to, it's the patch that they should have launched with, but, well, whatever. But with, like, having the traits like that, being as cucked as a lot of them are. But now that things are starting to bounce out, and we're gonna have that, dude, bears are gonna be flesh rending.
I've been debating. That's the only thing I was gonna ask, because, like, I mean, it's because if you look at the end of the dungeon, majority of your damage is gonna be swipe.
If you sit on trash and you're not kiting as much as you are,
right?
Or
but
as
even
much
then,
as,
you know, like I'm saying, like because you can thrash on cooldown. That's obvious, but, like, you know, I'm saying, like, your average normal hit is 900. I mean, if the numbers are true, and you're adding, because what it says, at least on mine, is alone on the 380 piece.
My average normal swipe is 2,400.
Right, so you'll be adding roughly 25% increased damage on a swipe, because it's going to be doing like 400, 500 more, which is pretty significant considering it's our main damage source.
Do I have any swipe shoulders? Let me look. Like, I like Archive, but man, I'm so fucking tired of it. I'm so fucking tired of it.
It's literally the best. It just is the best.
If I had a Thrash piece for that, like, I would be using it, but
yeah,
feels bad.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. That's something where I don't have anything else to run, and so I've just been like, there's no other, like, healing, if there's no other, like, defensives, because I have like 9 Gonk Outrunner shoulders, like 9 honor bound shoulders. I haven't done any PvP this pack. I need to like get like 2k plus, and go through, and then that way I'm having like better setups for a lot of stuff.
They had some alright ones. I played with this one a bit. It's got a pretty good uptime, but like at that item level, it's 375. It's 723 agility for 10 seconds, and if an ally dies,
can you look the shoulders? Is it you have it on?
Oh yeah, yes sir. And if somebody dies, it automatically procs.
Oh, I can't see them. Wait, oh look, there we go.
It's pretty disgusting.
That has really good like traits on it.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Wow, holy cow. 723 armor is really good, but it also has ablative and gem height. That's a really good set of shoulders. I would probably run that over my layered main rather, because I think ablative is easily one of the best tanking ones, especially for Guardian, because everything.
I'm gonna swap back to it right now. Yeah.
Because like no.
Look, I have iron for his shoulders.
I like
a couple
them,
of them,
but that's because I think like I may swap off a Guardian of a Loon, because I do kind of agree with you. I can see where you're saying, like, if you're frenzy regenning and someone's already healing you and it's not communicated well, or they just get good heals, you're gonna overkill your healing. You're just gonna literally overkill.
Especially if you're with a monk, as you say too. It's gonna go to waste. Yeah.
The Earth Wouldn't may be strong because it's just consistent protective damage. I used to run it in Legion because I felt like Legion, it was really good.
I didn't run it until the end, dude. I didn't fuck with it until a friend of mine was like, hey, have you ever tried this? And she asked me like 3 or 4 times, and I was finally like, all right, I'll try it. And then I was like, I fucking love this talent. Like I don't take it off, dude. Like
I thought about it.
Oh man.
And specifically in the Dream Grove, I was like, what about Earth Warden? And all the Guardians were like, no, it's terrible, never touch it. And I was like, really? That's a surprise, because
you also ask any of them to like link their bears, and dude, like the more active guys, like I've gone on there a couple times and I've left a couple times just because of like the attitude that I was kind of presented with. And I'm like, can I have a look at your bear? And then they're like, well, I don't play it, so I would link you to somebody else's. And I'm like, well, then what point are you talking from? Like, how do you know?
I'm trying to see, because what I'm going to try and do is, like, I'm going to go through and just do a simple test on a target dummy. What's that noise? Oh, damn it.
The 370 thrash is 400. It's 398 at 375. Or no, that's not even 375. 375. There it is. So that's 418 damage.
I need to like build this up. I need to build this.
I'm looking forward to getting away from the thought process of trying to increase my damage through the build that I'm doing right now, like getting away from that. I don't
mind the loss of damage, because honestly our damage is amazing in AoE. It's terrible in single target, which it'll make up for it. Whatever, you know what I mean? Like it'll just be fixed.
If you're staying active, you make up for it on trash. So
I'm at, let's see, 150, and if I frenzy regen. Okay, so frenzy regen is roughly.
We can do a duel if you want.
53k? No, I'm just doing training dummy. So it's 53k, around 53, so let's say safe numbers 55k with 1 frenzy regen. And if I go up here and let me just go change my talents, because I'm running Earth Warden right now.
They need to update the Azerite Veins tooltip, dude. Not only is the base healing nowhere near what it says, but it only lasts for 8 seconds. It's not 18. They need to fucking fix that. Yeah,
it's 8 seconds or until you're fully healed.
Yeah, the tooltip says 18 though.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. There's a lot of things they don't fix. I mean, beta for Azeroth, man. Like I said this in our run earlier today because people were talking about it, because we were talking just while we were doing alt keys from a shaman. It was 14 weeks before they fixed explosive, compared to they fixed the overtuned Corgi goggles in 30 minutes because of the buff duration on that. 14 weeks for Mythic Plus versus 30 minutes for a toy.
Bro, it's still beta. Don't worry, it won't make it to live.
Yeah. It's like 8.1 when beta for Azeroth ends.
Not even that, because they're still gonna have some of the dungeon bugs in until it happens in MDI. So
there's gonna be new ones probably too. Maybe. You never know.
I'm looking forward to the newer dungeons.
Yeah, no, I gotta run Guardian Loon. It's insane. That's actually like one Guardian Loon proc compared to 55k did 95k for me. Is that a crit? Is there a crit in there? No, it's 4 consistent.
I don't think it can crit.
It can't crit. That's almost double the value. It like I wasn't sure if it was multiplicative or if it was additive, and it is raw additive.
What you need to do,
it heals you for 44% of your maximum health.
What you need to do is do the same key twice in a row and run one with regen with that, and then run another one of the same exact key with Earth Warden, and then do that.
I think a lot of it is going to be a play preference too. Like, I could see where Earth Wardens would be very strong because you're able to, like, with Blood Frenzy and Earth, I feel like we would be very, because, like, here's the other thing. I think Brambles is only good if you're going to run Survival of the Fittest. Because then I could see it being more valuable, because then you're going to have Brambles up more often, and it's also kind of like an internal DPS cooldown, as well as a micro defensive all the time.
Yeah, but then if you're obligated to use it.
Yeah, I mean, but there's no reason, like, for me, I usually try and pop it at the start of a pool. Just because at least, like, if it's a really bad pull that's going to hit me really hard at the start without having Iron for up, I'd have that one. And then in worst case scenario, I've got Frenzy regen stacks or Peel. Like here's my complaint as a healer from like 2100 healing. I despise tanks that stand there till they die. Like, there's zero reason you need to tank a mob when it's like, you know, a enraged stack mob or like a bolstering stack mob. Like, I played with the Brewmaster, who was an amazing Brewmaster, but he did it all the time. I'm like, dude, you literally let your stagger meter go to, you're draining your health to 1%. He's down to 1 life, not dying to stagger. And I'm like, you can just put a ring on your feet. You have the best self-peel in the game. And then wait till you get like 2 more stacks of Brew. And then you're good to go back in the fight. Or Transcendence, or Roll, or Ring. Because, like, when you play with other people in the group, you just ask them, hey, can you go ahead and put a Blizzard down? Hey, can you Typhoon? Hey, can you Ursels? Hey, can you Binding Shot? Tar Trap?
I have
Chaos Nova, anything.
There's a Demon Hunter that I run with pretty much all the time now, and like he just kind of knows now, because like he kind of knows like I'll use either Barkskin, or if it's a larger pool I'll use Instincts once everything is stacked, and then he'll drop a Darkness for me about 10 seconds into a pool, and it's fucking fantastic.
Oh yeah, Darkness is so undervalued. Like,
it's
Demon
so
Hunters,
good.
in my opinion, are
they don't
like,
use it, dude. They don't fucking use it unless you like yell at them.
None of them
like,
use their mechanics. Dude, there's mechanics that you can do, like as an example, if a Demon Hunter was really clutch, he could quite literally just taunt a mob and then Blade Dance, and he's immune. He just dodges physical damage, and then you could taunt it back. Like, there's so many times where I've done keys with Necrotic, and I'll just taunt off a tank, and they'll be like, "Why are you taunting off me?" I'm like, "So you can drop stacks, man." Let the mob walk to me, then you just taunt it back. Like, it's not hard. It's just people have this weird, like, I don't know where it came from. It has to be like from a vanilla that's just crept into Legion, into BFA, the mentality where it's like, I have to be physically in front of the boss or the mob taking damage. I can't be away from it running away, because then I'm a coward and I'm not playing my role. Like, it's like, some weird mentality I don't get, because I see it all the time. I've run with really high tanks where they fought me, because me being a healer, I'm super vocal about stuff. And I'm like, I'm going to Iron Bark you at the start of every pull, because I run Stonebark specifically because it's 20% DR every single pull. And, you know, every single boss fight, I'll be like, I'm going to Iron Bark you right at the start of it. Makes the pulls start easier, makes things easier off the go. And then I have it back up when things get really bad. You know, and then
they can manage their cooldowns around that.
Exactly. And then I'm like, mine's 40 seconds. I have a 40-second, 20% damage reduction. Let me use mine on cooldown for you, versus just saying, like, I've had people argue with me like, no, dude, I'm just going to use dancing here. I'm like, that's like a 2-minute cooldown, bro. Like, let me use my 40% that gives me 20% more healing and gives you 20% DR. That's a 40
My Druid now, like, he knows, like, we're at a point now where like I used to call for it, and now he knows. Like I'll just be like, "Yo, I don't have instincts up," and he'll be like, "All right," and then he just like he uses it on me. Like he just knows now. I'm like, dude, I'm not calling for that shit anymore.
Do you run any external trackers or any
I do. I have ERT. I look at everything.
I have one,
yeah.
and I'll send you.
There's actually some things I need to add to that.
Tight contrast. There's a much better one, personally.
Is that tiers rating
no,
things?
No, not tiers. No, this is
the
Death Knight I play with. This is Zula's, and if you go to this one, it's phenomenal. I'll put a Gyazo. Can I put a Gyazo inside of your Discord? Do you care?
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, so like, all right. So where are you? Are you nearby?
Somewhere.
You're down at the dumps. Okay, I'm gonna hearth real quick. So like, just stay there. And then I'll show you what I'm going to talk about, because what this does is it tracks all offensive cooldowns, so you can see other people's defensives and other people's racials. I see your bull charge, I see your arcane torrent, I see your ice block, I see everything. Like as a healer, I'm watching everything you do. So like for you, pop like survival, and then you can see certain. Oh, you know what? It's because I'm gonna rest.
Let me hold on. Because I don't, my disc is on my streaming PC. I'm just gonna type in the thing.
Yeah, you're fine, dude. Okay, it might be because we're not in combat. It's tracking other things, but it's not tracking yours. Let me reload you up. I don't know why it's not tracking yours. It might not actually track bears. Now that I'm thinking about it, there's a lot he's still updating. This one's like a little, but it's really good to track DPS cooldowns because he has almost every DPS in the game.
That's one thing I do probably should have more of, because like I've got everybody's like defensives, but knowing when their cooldowns are up, so I don't have to ask, so I know like what I can pull and when.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. It's got to reload everything and build it. It might not have any Guardian. Let me see if this is actually updated or not. It's not in Rand of Iceland anymore. I don't have his.
Isn't this loading up?
No, you're not in range. I had it from the dungeon run we had.
Yeah.
Let me have a look at this. Up.
You nearby? I don't know if you're in range of me if it'll work. Because it's not showing certain cooldowns. Because it was tracking them better. Now it's not.
So the way
I can see your interrupts
up
now, and there it goes. It's starting to pull them in. Okay.
All right. So how
it just took a second because it actively loads some of the information. I'll show you a Gyazo now.
Okay, so I have this up now, and it's just got interrupts, crowd control, offensives, externalist, defense, torrent, combat red. Is it gonna like add things onto the lines here, or like look here? I'm gonna type my.
Jacked up. Sorry, what's up?
I'm gonna type my stream in Discord. If you can like look at this, maybe help me set this up.
I can. Where do you want me to post this Gyazo? In your Discord? Is that cool?
Yeah.
So if you look, and like my UI is not fancy in any regard, but it's just really streamlined for me as a user. So if you look at the left-hand side, that's what the weak ward does. It tracks everything that I can see.
So it'll add things in as they join the party, I guess, or like as
it automatically starts refreshing itself. So like I can look at. I see all of his defensives, I see my cooldowns, I see his defensives, his racials, your racials, interrupts, and I have a separate weak word tracker for interrupts, and then I run everything else that's on there. So I see other interrupts and things like that, where I see, you know, what is good for, like if you're playing with a boomkin, you can see their trees.
Yeah.
So you know every time their trees, like, so I call everything we're doing. Like when I play with a boomkin, I'm like, all right, I'm iron barking here, don't use trees. Trees here, trees are coming down, trees have an 18-second cooldown left on it, gonna bark you here. Okay, trees now, like that kind of a thing, and I can roll through and I can time everything so much easier.
So I don't need to change anything on this. I can just like leave it as is.
You just load it, and then after you load it, it'll pull information in. I tried the one you mentioned that I think someone posted on Reddit. I'm not a huge fan of it, and then you can adjust the size and scaling. So like if you put it there, it scales upward from the lock icon.
Okay, so I probably hold it on the bottom. All right.
And then once you're done with it, like I increased the size of it a little bit because I found it a little small, and then you can change some of the things in there because there's different offensives and defensives and things like that. Once it gets fully loaded, oh, there's one thing you want to change. If you go into a raid, go to. Let me open my weekly.
I don't use it in raid though. I'm not a raid leader.
No. I'm telling you how to turn it off because I have people.
Oh, okay. Well.
Because it props up during raid. Go to load, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna click in group, and then in group. So, yeah,
okay, so it's not in raid.
In group. Click in group, and then click in group again because it'll load in raid. And then what ends up happening is as it loads in raid,
fucking everything.
It floods all of the players who use anything. Yeah, it like filled the whole left-hand side of my screen, and my bars were just destroyed. I'm like, oh god.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and so like this, and once you close it out and you exit out of it, you'll see that it'll start populating automatically.
Yeah.
And then
use your
so like
iron bar.
I can stone bark you. You can see my innervates. So
I like that.
The only thing is it's a very big work in progress. So he's adding a lot of new things. I got it from Zula. He's a really, really good Death Knight that I run with, and his stream is really cool.
So I'm assuming he has like the metas though, like mage, rogue, DH.
He has almost everything. I think like on the weekly page, the guy's talking about like, still things to do, which is like enhancement shaman, things that are out of the norm. Arms warrior, demonology, restoration shaman, enhancement shaman, shadow priest, feral druid. That's not a real thing anyway. So, like, I've tried feral in a dungeon. I tried feral, and the problem is like the regen from it, the energy regen is poor, but it's the kit. That's the problem. It's the kit. Like, you don't want a class that does a whole lot of small bleed damage over time. That's the big problem. Like, you look at what a demon hunter can do. No one can do what a demon hunter does.
Yeah, well, even like that, even the AoE rip for cats, it's like it's gonna pretty much require like on a fortified week maybe, like high fortified keys. Like that shit has to be alive for so long for that to really be like good.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, okay, that's cool. You did an AoE rip. That's a good spender now, but like. That's not what is needed out of the class. Like, and the worst case scenario, and like, I mean, this is the true truth right here. If I saw a druid pop into my thing, this is for high keys specifically, and I'm gonna be like, okay, cool. What do you do? And he's like, oh, cool, I'm a feral. I'm like, all right, well, here's a big question. Do you have the best tank external in the game? Because I do, and it's trees. It is the best tank external. It's a 1 minute cooldown that makes a tank immune to damage, pretty much. Except on a boss fight, obviously.
Even like King's Rest, I mean, they can like max range, and the trees will take the bleed off of them too.
Yeah. You just time it. Like, oh, I have one stack. Cool, I'll drop trees in the next 10 seconds. There you go. Like, the things trees eat for free is crazy. Like Motherload. They eat grease guns. They eat spritzers. They eat rock throws, rock lances. Everything. Like, it's the best external in the game. And then, you know, if you go, that's cool. Like, you go for like, what do you got, bro? Like, I got 3 charges of brutal slash. Like, it's terrible. Like, it's all right, there we go, my AoE's done. I gotta wait like 8 seconds now. Like, it's insane. Like, in my feral gear and all my feral setup right now, my haste, I'm not even exaggerating the number, 19,070 haste. I have 29% haste flat, and I'm starved for energy.
Really?
It's horrible. Real. I tried it. I did like single target. I did like 13k.
They're not bad in raid. I have a feral druid in my raid.
Oh yeah,
right now
in raid they're amazing because they don't have to do anything else but just
maintain
maximize their damage into one
yeah.
target. But your talents just don't line up for Mythic Plus ever, like ever. They don't line up well at all. They literally, and I'm not even
so bad, dude.
Yeah.
At least like last X pack, it was like, I don't know if it was like because of the Thrasherus in combination with like the brutal slasher, whatever the fuck it is, but like at least you had like burst where you could just like smash it and just do like
slash was a ton of damage. It was 3 big charges. You can go into the pool, blow, 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 tons of damage,
and then things are like, dead, and you're on top of the meter, and you're like, hell
right,
yeah.
and then you're like, cool. The next pool, I'm gonna do a ton of damage. You know, I just gotta recharge my setup. Now it's terrible. Like it does.
That feels so
less
bad.
Than swipe.
How did they destroy it so much? Like, how does that happen?
It's the same as Shadow Priest. It's the same as Boomkin, where they tune and adjust numbers too heavily. But it's again, if you looked at what Feral had in its weapon, like one of the best ones in the game for artifact passive ability, one of your golden tiers, when you were in cat form and you switched to bear, for like 8 seconds you had 100% dodge. It was like a 20-second cooldown internal. And so all you had to do, like, here's a great example. Ivashara, the first boss, General, whatever the heck his name is, when he throws that deadly spear with a feral, you hop in the just go to bear, taunt the boss, and it throws the spear into you. Boom, you immune all damage for like 8 seconds. Then the tank just taunts back, and you don't even have to worry about it. Like it does so many small things. No one. Well, I mean, feral was pretty much non-existent as was, but it's their talents now. Their talents line up for nothing. All it is just like bleed damage over time. Like Blizzard, like JB has said this a ton of times in his Q&As and things. I 100% agree that the game should stop trying to be diverse and start trying to be homogenous.
Yeah.
It's so bad that Blood Dead Knights are so good. And you know why they're so good beyond any other tank in the game? Guardian's the only one that can compare to it for one of the best cooldowns. Battle Res. There's one battle res on a healer in the entire game.
Yeah.
There's 5 healer specs. That's crazy.
Well, and dude, that's another big thing that like bears, like not only did they make it to where you couldn't stack an pin on a warrior, but then they making regen a flat heal, like changing how it's been for years, being based off of the damage that you take was like perfect, dude. It was honestly like it balanced with everything. Now it's like
you could do so much with
it.
Yeah, like I mean, I agree with what they did.
If they would change that back alone, it would fix some things. But
I think specifically because I know why they changed it is because they saw what balanced druids and resto druids were doing. You know, you have that one where you have those guys taking absurd damage. Where you have these, you know, you're able to take a gigantic hit. And then after you take a gigantic hit, you're full healing again. Balanced Druids has like one of the best, you know, defensives naturally. Just go to bear form. You could live through, you know, 24 Hersha without even challenge. And now, like, they went overboard with it because they got scared. Like, you have one charge of it that's on a 30-second cooldown. I don't even use bear form anymore because why? Like, it's not worth it. I don't even use bear form. Like, I run exclusively like cat form in every boss fight. I cat weave on every progression. The only thing I don't is fetid, because I run balance affinity for the bounce back effect. So that's it.
You get the disengage and balance affinity.
Yeah, so because that's why I like wild charges. It's so like yeah, and even then, like I use wild charge on Gahoon. So I can wild charge to a Mistweaver Serpent statue and skip half the run for running an orb. So like wild charge has so many uses.
I still play balance for that fight, and I was doing that when I was in a different group, and then the other balance and the raid, like he saw me one day and he was like, dude, you've been wild charging every stomp. I'm like, fuck yeah. And he's like, God, why didn't I think of that? And I was like, it's bad, dude. Like so good.
Like what it has in its kit, the druid is amazing. I'm super hopeful for what Guardian has. I can't say for sure if I believe Vortex is going to be really good. I want to believe it, but like I'm too hard up on wild charge because I run it in every spec.
It's going to be great because it's also got the 50% slow too.
Right. Yeah. It's a really amazing healing utility for yourself. Oh, for sure. And if you're not running wild charge already, if you're running like Tiger Speed or you're running, I know a lot of high-end druids are running incapacitating, you know, to give it the 1 minute or to give it the greater damage threshold.
The fear, yeah. I was using that. I used that now in every place, but King's Rest, Atile Desire, and Underrat, so I can still hit all the undead. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I've never run it because for me, I only use it as an interrupt. It feels very inconsequential, other than just like we don't have an interrupt, we need one. So like the maggots, I can get the first 3 maggots without trying. Okay, I'll roar this one. I'll typhoon next. I'll bull charge next. Cool, my roar's back up, I'll just roar again. Okay, cool, my typhoon's back up, I'll typhoon again. Like I can handle those ones. Like druids have a lot of utility that people don't see because they don't want to see it. Like they only look at what Death Knight is capable of, and they see ridiculous self-healing, ridiculous damage with Bone Storm, and then they're just like, oh, I mean the biggest thing is spread. I still think Gorfiend should have been like capped at a target. Like make it 5 targets or something.
Or make the cooldown a little longer or something.
Yeah, I mean, even then, like 2-minute cooldown is fine because no one can take the talent to reduce it very often because usually you want the death and decay slow, so you have a little self-peel. But 2-minute is fine, but it's just that it's just uncapped. The fact that it's an uncapped number of targets is crazy to me. Because like what a good Death Knight can do is pull all those mobs, Bone Storm, do a ton of damage, Death and Decay, walk backwards. The mobs are going to get to you. Just have your healer standing 20 yards out and
you grip off of them. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you peel yourself again. It's crazy.
Well, that's one of the weird things is like when they took the artifacts for a lot of people, and some classes just got cucked, dude. Like we got pretty much nothing from the artifact that we had previously, like extra speed off of roar, the iron fur, like the extra regen healing. Like it was so fucking weird what they did.
You want to know what I think they should have done? This is just me personally. They should have stripped out our 90 tier. So what I think they should have done is they should have baked Earth Wardens into Brambles, and I think they should have basically changed how some of those works were. Our 90 talent now, what they take out is either take out Guardian or take out Earth Warden, and they put back in Rage of the Sleeper. The fact we don't have Rage of the Sleeper anymore, holy cow! The best thing in the game. It was literally the best. Like I remember going into like I think it was like a Karazhan lower 20 when I was tanking or something like that. I look at my old numbers.
Just like pull everything and just smash it, dude.
And I got to 99 stacks of necrotic with Rage of the Sleeper, and it just did like the highest number. I mean, couldn't compare to the Fire Mage who had like immediately you just Trinket and then Living Bomb and everything died. But I was second on damage. But the fact that what you could do with Rage of the Sleeper, and like why was that not given to us?
Well, dude, and then if you had the cloak, the reflect was also healing you too.
Yep. it's so much. Like I don't think they realized how like a lot of classes relied heavily on the legendaries.
Yeah, and dude, I put out a guide for like the Moonfire build because I was like, dude, use like Rage of the Sleeper, Moonglaze, the cloak, and the balanced shoulders. And
you're out of control.
Fuck, dude, dude, I walked into I have a 110 ally druid locked. In XP, and like I'll walk into freehold, literally just pull everything, dude, and like your health doesn't move, dude. It's so good.
Yep.
Like it's
and then it's totally like, and that's a big bummer. Like 8.1, I can see Guardians again, and the main reason that they're not even being done now is a stigma of the community. I think the Mythic Plus community, and this is for me in the high end level, I think the Mythic Plus community is dying. I think it's dying because of what Blizzard's doing, not what the community's doing. We did this without a rogue. We were just running all keys, okay? And so we did an 8 freehold. By the time we cleared normal stuff in a freehold, like from start of the dungeon, cleared a first boss, and then basically cleared around to unlock the chest with the dog. By the time we're done with that, we were like 75% trash. Like by the time we ended the dungeon, because we weren't running with a rogue, and we pulled it normal, skipping as much as we could.
Wait, which dungeon was that?
Freehold.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So instead of like shroud skipping the start and stealthing by and like all that stuff, like we ended at like 155% trash, and that's skipping as much as we could after the second boss. That's normal. Like I don't know how pugs and lower skilled people or more casual players do underrot without a rogue. How do you deal with those matrons? How do you deal with those like mobs that are putting you in perma roots with those nets?
And then they charge towards you and they cleave your fucking face off. Like, oh god.
Then they have 2 huge necessary interrupts that are constantly going out because they have like Blessing of Gahoon, which like full heals a target, and then there's like Embrace Death or something. They have 2 like the very
that
first
you have to
casters.
Purge or Master Spell or something.
And and it makes them immune to death. It's crazy, and that's a ton of mobs in this game where they've made all of these abilities like way too challenging for normal people. And there's
a lot of people that think they need to take out Fortified and Tyrannical below tankies again. A lot of people feel like that.
I mean,
because it's just destroying people, dude.
I can kind of agree and kind of dis. I lean more towards Blizzard in agreement, where I think it's bad that once you hit the 10 threshold, it feels like a huge jump.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But like, I also feel really bad because I don't think they balance the dungeons well. I think Tyrannical and Fortified at lower keys is good because you feel an immediate change in the dungeon.
Yeah. It's like, oh shit, I'm in a key. Like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And my big thing is it doesn't teach players well. Like, there's no way, like, if you didn't have methods, like, I can click on it, I can go to Underrot,
I don't
click on the caster I'm talking about. And thank God for Naga, because now I can read it. Oh, they cast Dark Reconstitution. Heals an ally for 30% of their maximum health. 3-second cast, 5-second cooldown. Gift of Gahoon blesses the ally with the power of Gahoon.
A lot of people still don't use it. I've been getting a lot of people on it, dude. A lot of people.
You have to.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, they hurt the community because they don't offer information internal. So we have to develop it as within the community. But like, if you were a normal player, a mom, a dad, a grandma, grandpa, a son, a brother, whatever, you're playing the game trying to understand how to learn what to do, you can't. Like there was one I was watching JB and I was like typing in his stream trying to tell him because he was running with Shakib and something. The mobs in Underrot, the death speakers, they put an ability called Wicked Frenzy you can soothe off as a druid. Wicked Frenzy applies Wicked Assault. It says it's on the Death Speaker, but what it doesn't tell you is that Wicked Assault is applied from Wicked Frenzy. And so when you soothe off Wicked Frenzy, the magic debuff doesn't get applied to the target anymore. So a lot of healers don't even know what that does. They're just soothing it off and they're not realizing it. Or they don't even have soothe, so that's a permanent damage ability that's being applied to the tank. And in
and it's a 5-second cooldown,
It's huge, the amount of damage, because Arc Dispels are 8-second cooldown. We dispel once, and the mob's immediately auto-attacking again, and it's reapplied. And that is a disgustingly high damage dot on high keys.
It is, dude. Hell yeah,
and like those things don't exist to tell players how to do it. But I mean, that's the community. Like the Mythic Plus community as a whole is so damaged because there's no information given to the players. Like if you run a heroic now, you know, to get your defiled augment runes or whatever you want to call them now.
Yeah.
Like I've been in so many heroics where they don't even interrupt through a whole dungeon. I have an interrupt trap.
No, they don't.
And it's not that they don't care to not do it.
They just don't know how it is. They don't know how important it's going to be later to just like get down the muscle memory for that.
Yeah, there's no training wheels. Like my shaman, and this is just, you know, obviously it's a little external luck and a little bit of a carry, but say I was a normal player, I got my shaman to 120 Tuesday, like Tuesday 4 a.m. kind of thing. And then basically I like beg my people, I was like, yo, let's do a 10, get me a couple of zeros. I just want to get some gear.
I did the same thing, dude, on mine.
And so, yeah, and then thank God for that, because now after that was done, my guy's now like 358. So like went up 100 item levels in a day, being able to go through a couple of zeros.
Well, and like we're also there still like interrupting things, we're purging things, like we're still like playing the class to like help out to be able to make it be able to be like an easy carry. So it's like
Well, and here's the thing too, for like, because I'm watching like on your stream, if you click on the sister for Wicked Etch, they do
update the sisters. Yeah. Oh yeah. All right.
If you click on the ability that does Etch on her and you look at it, Etch actually does less damage than melee. So if I tell my groups constantly, I think it's like the Rune Weavers. No, it's something like that. It's one of the sisters. I don't know which one. But when you right click on it, that etch ability, I always tell them like let it channel, because the channel with etch, the damage doesn't scale beyond like a 2.
Really?
Etch does no damage. It's broken right now.
So you let the mob just be like inactive, so it's not cleaving your tank.
We were in a 19 and it was ticking for like 10k, compared to the marking cleave, which was hitting the tank for like 70k and then applying that dot. So like that, I was just like, there's abilities in the game that just don't make sense. Like, oh yeah, just don't interrupt that ever. And then I tell people that, and they get really weirded out. They're like, "What? Like, I don't interrupt abilities?" I'm like, "Not that one. Like never interrupt that one."
Painful motivation, dude. The amount of people that don't understand what that does, or that the fact that like there wasn't a target cap, and then they removed it, and then they added it in, but now it has a 4 target cap, and it's like, how are you supposed to know that? Like, how are you supposed to know that also that mob's gonna fucking truck you on a higher key, but if you just kite it, it's gonna melt. So
yep.